Subconscious Creation with Cassandra. That's me. Really quickly, I just wanted to touch base on the phenomenon of the story we tell ourselves. For those of you on the journey to recognize the thought patterns you are having, you'll start observing that in situations where something happens that makes you upset, the story you tell yourself is something negative. That might be a belief. Let's say something happens and the story you tell yourself is, oh, nobody loves me, or I'm not wanted, or I don't matter. This is the conversation that's going on in your head. What's very curious to me is that this thing happened that we interpreted negatively, which then we had some thoughts too that are also negative. What I find interesting is the comfort we take in that negative conversation. I'm not sure if this happens to you guys. I know this happens to me. If I'm in a scenario that's already uncomfortable for me, and then I get hit with something I didn't want to hear, and I then interpret that negatively or as an attack on me, to which then I come up with a conclusion or a summation like, nobody loves me, I don't belong here. And oddly enough, that negative thinking, that by the way is not true, gives me comfort. And I get lost in that because the comfort of that negative self-talk is like home to me. It's an emotional place that I'm very familiar with. However, just because I'm comfortable and familiar with this negative place inside my head, it doesn't mean that I should live there. In many instances, my mind has pushed me back to, let's just be in this alone little cocoon where we believe that nobody loves us and that we're not meant to be anywhere and that we're by ourselves. And we're going to be safer here in this cocoon of the people in this world are dangerous, or the people are out to get me, or I am to be hurt. Let's just be safe here in this cocoon of false safety. It's very interesting because it gives me such comfort to be in this place. However, I know this place does not serve me. I know this place isn't real. It's just a coping mechanism, that place that I developed to overcome situations in my youth. And now as an adult, I feel myself and I see the thought process that leads me back into that cocoon of false safety and pushes me and isolates me away from people. Because it says, hey, I'm safe here. People are going to hurt us, etc., etc. Whatever belief I want to insert into there as to why I should be in my little cocoon of safety. It's just a very interesting phenomenon because I know that the cocoon of safety is false. That makes me feel comfortable because it's what I know, but it's not a healthy place for me to be. Yes, it's safe because it's just me, but it's not realistic. It's not the higher version of myself. It's not going to help propel me through life and live the life that I want to live if I'm stuck in this cocoon of believing that I'm going to be hurt by somebody, or I need to be careful of being vulnerable with people, or people are out to get me, or I can't trust anybody, or I can't rely on anybody. So all these thought patterns are a negative self-inflicted or negative self-talk that leads to me isolating myself. And I know that isolation does not serve me. Together we thrive, alone we die. We need people. We are people that thrive off of being with or around people. We need people. So in summation, when you're at the point of observing your thoughts and you realize that there is this conversation playing out as a coping mechanism or a place to hide, just be aware of that. Nurture yourself through that. And by that, I mean, take whatever thoughts you're having and negate them. You'll know that the negation is true because it'll make you feel better. So find a thought that actually resonates with you and makes you feel better, because that one is true. What makes you feel better in like a not isolating type of way, in a grander scheme type of way. So be aware of yourself when you're having that thought pattern. Observe yourself. Give yourself love and understanding and compassion, and understand yourself and communicate. Communicate with those around you and those that love you, because that'll help the healing process of whatever it is that you need to heal. Communicating, hey, when things happen around me, I interpret them this way. I feel this way. And I know that the truth of it is not that I'm being personally attacked, but my defense mechanism takes me to this hideaway where I shut down from everything around me, and I dig a hole that I hide in and just wait until time passes that I could come out. And that's my defense mechanism, or my coping mechanism to uncomfortable situations. So I just want to let you know that's where I go, and maybe it'll help to just have somebody's hand to hold during these times, to know that I am safe and grounded. It might help to talk during these times. It might help for me to give you a signal of some sorts that I need to relocate or be in a different area. So I encourage communicating to your loved ones that this is what's going on. And if you feel there isn't anybody to share that information with, do it for yourself. When you recognize that you're going down this spiral, or you're digging yourself a hole to stay in to weather the storm, give yourself that compassion that you need. Build yourself up. I know it's super hard and super against the thoughts that are going on in your head, but save yourself, ultimately. Whether that be an audio, whether that be writing, whether that be removing yourself from the situation, whether it's having a good conversation with yourself in your head, whether it's negating the negative thoughts into positive ones. There's things that you can do to work through that. And I'm saying this as if I got this all figured out. Trust me, I do not. The reason I'm making this audio recording was because Christmas was yesterday and Christmas Eve was the day before. And I didn't realize that I was in a very deep hole, that I was just waiting until the holidays were over and just holding my breath. And now I look back and I'm like, nothing actually happened. I was not hurt. Nobody made any comments in my direction. Nobody deliberately tried to hurt me. Everything was fine. And yet I was braced for 2 days, waiting for it to be over when I could have been enjoying it. The most comical part was that I was bracing myself, or being in this hole, from nothing in my current immediate surrounding. There was no reason for me to be there. It was just a defense mechanism or coping mechanism or a prevention mechanism from the potentials of what could happen. But that's not the way I want to live. I want to live freely. I don't want to limit myself. I don't want to feel constricted. I want to feel comfortable everywhere I am. I want to feel confident. I definitely wasn't doing that. And so now I'm observing why or how or why I behaved the way that I did. And I came to the conclusion that I was not comfortable in my surroundings, and I just hid from anticipation of what could be. But as you hear me say that, you could imagine how limiting that is if you're always living in fear, always living in restriction from a potential of what could be. It doesn't serve us. It's very, very limiting mindset. And it's fascinating to me because the individual that I am, very active, very social. And now I'm very hide. Oh yes, best of luck to you all. Please leave any questions you may have. Goodbye.